So the biggest shift for you is the perspective of what abundance is. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Hi there. Super excited to connect today. Where are you in from and what's your question?
Hi, Erin. My name's Simone. Oops. I am from Australia, and my question is really around how to overcome fear when it comes to being able to hold the space for creating abundance and money in the world.
Man, that's a big question. I think that it's something that so many people are dealing with. Money's always such a big conversation for people. And I first want to acknowledge you for being courageous enough to follow your dreams and overcome such a fear-ridden world that we're living in right now. So this is a very important question, a question I get asked a lot, especially it's like, maybe you don't have full abundance yet. Like, how do I keep that in consciousness, knowing that whatever we, hold in frequency is going to be created? So, number one is, of course, I'm a big thing. Have you done much of your trauma work at all?
Yes, I have. I know there's still a bit of work to go there. I've got some stuff from my childhood that comes up from time to time that isn't fully resolved yet, I think.
Okay, yeah, because most people will try and just kind of stay positive, just kind of like pushing down the fear. And it just doesn't work. The reality is that the universe is connected with your subconscious, which is one with the superconscious. So no matter how much we try and use our brain to try and stay positive or pretend like we're not in fear and kind of, live in Delulu, if they'd say, it just doesn't work because what's actually out picturing in our lives is what's happening at a soul, cellular, energetic level, as you probably already know. So, of course, always doing your trauma work is imperative because it's going to start getting some of that neutralized at a subconscious level. But in the interim, as you're doing those things, and how you can tell when you're never fully done with your trauma work because we're connected collectively, but how you can know that you really have done a lot of work is when you can look at your past without any like upset or feeling you're the victim of something, feeling like it wasn't working for your highest evolution. Okay. So that's the one thing, doing that trauma work. But I'll give you a few hacks for today to help you kind of get in the right mindset. First of all, what's your spiritual practice?
I meditate often. I
Mhm.
connect. I'm in nature. I feel like I've got guides as well. I was raised a Catholic, but I wouldn't call myself religious. I
Mhm.
really just try and connect to my intuition a lot, and I feel like I'm guided a lot of the time.
Sure. So, like, I think it's an important thing to recognize there's good fear, right? There's fear that helps us realize when we're not like, for example, say I go on social media and say I start getting, a bunch of fear going on in me. That's my soul, my spirit going through my soul, if you will, telling me that this is fearful, like this is causing me harm, right? So people will be like, oh, let me just get over the fear. But actually, if we listen to the fear, it's guiding us. So where and when do you get fearful?
I get fearful sometimes when I feel like, you know, I'm not fully stepping into the work that I should be doing in the world.
Mhm.
And it draws me back to what I'm really great at, but what doesn't light me up anymore. So it's about me kind of breaking through that to really step into what I feel I'm here to do.
Okay,
Um,
great. I love that. Okay, I'm going to give you homework right now. Okay, this is perfect. What we do, one of the things we do along with trauma, along with regressions, is we do what's called the life's manual. Okay, and this is life changing for you taking responsibility around your emotions, including fear. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to make three lists. Okay, one list is what's considered your bottom line, where you really are fearful. What are all the things that get you there? Well, let's see. If I don't meditate, I don't, do prayer, I don't get in nature, I start swirling around in my mind of evaluation, whatever that is that gets you to your worst case fear level. Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
next is kind of the bottom line. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm staying out of fear and I'm creating abundance in my life, right? What are those things? Maybe it's that, hey, I take action every day. I run my business. I do my trauma work. I'm consistent with getting my work done. I also, make sure that I'm right. Like anything that has to happen for a bottom line for you to not stay in fear and stay towards abundance. Okay. And then the
Mm-hmm.
third is ideal scene. What's ideal scene? Where do you begin to get like so out of the fear zone that you're like in flow mode, right? So for me, for example, a high would be, of course, doing my spiritual practice. If I don't do my spiritual practice, then I'm actively choosing to live in those, bottom line areas instead. So doing that for sure. Sometimes I'll pray every hour on the hour in the day. If something's going on or something, I don't know. Back in the day, I used to have to pray all the time, meditate all the time, stop and do breath work and get back in flow state and get there, right? So I want you to do this as a homework to go, okay, who am I and what am I doing to be in my best self, my ideal scene? Who am I to be in my par for living in, not living in fear and being in abundance mode? And who am I in my worst case scenario? Okay. And then it's kind of like you have to go through the day and make sure that you're staying in alignment with those things. So what would you say is one thing that you can do that would be in the flow state in your ideal scene for you to stay in that abundance mindset?
Well, I start every morning like watching the sunrise and then
Great.
going for a walk in nature, and that makes me feel amazing. I find during the day I get sucked into Instagram, and that's probably what takes me out of the
Mhm.
space.
Bing,
Um,
bing, bing, right? So it's like, okay, maybe I'm going to delete my app. I'm only going to go on there for 1 hour a day or whatever, and I can install my app again or take it off. Like, how serious are you? How bad do you want the success? Because the leaders that I know that are really successful, like they have massive discipline, but not even discipline, because discipline is hard to sustain. They have systems. Okay. So instead of going, oh, I'm starting to get like, stressed out when I get on Instagram, now I should delete it. No, I just instantly delete it at 9 a.m. after I've gone in there and done whatever. And then I have a system that I go back on, the next day or in the evening, I allow myself a half an hour to go back on there. So it's systems that help people get sustained in there. Because look, the reality is there's no pill for anybody. There's no, even if you do all your trauma work and have revelation, it's a daily spiritual practice, even for masters. We have to have systems in place to keep our mind right. I'll spiral into, fear or, not in right mind if I don't do systems and also have my spiritual practice as well. Okay. So
mm,
this is your homework. I want you to do those three things. And then from a miraculous, a miracle perspective, okay, do you pray at all?
I talk to God. I don't know whether I'd call it praying, but I ask for things. And I also, my parents have passed, and I ask them stuff too. So,
Okay. So there's a big thing you just said that I think is a big distinction. First of all, you don't have to pray to a man in the sky, right? Prayer is about expanding consciousness. And so I think it's very misunderstood. But there's something you said there that's really important. You said, I pray to get things. Okay. So this is the big shift. Okay. You can do all those homework things I just told you, and that's very human. Okay. All that stuff, which is good. We want to do things from a human perspective, and we also want to do things from a miraculous quantum leap perspective. And this is
mhm.
what I just heard you say. And this is the biggest shift for abundance in someone's life. We don't get abundance from the world, as you probably already know, okay? We only get abundance through our innovation and through God's source within. We're like a channel that brings abundance to the world, and then it reflects back, but we don't get it ever from the external world. We receive it from the source within, and the only way we actually get it is to give it away. So the big shift from going from fear, and this is the issue with so many people, is they're consuming stuff from the world. They're getting fear. They're being the effect of everything of the world. They're training their whole system to be the effect of the world. And we're designed to be sovereign beings, which means we don't get anything from the world. We only look to source within. And when we start to look to source within for our abundance, not to get anything, but to get something to give to the world, then we give value and then we receive value, right? We solve problems and then we begin to have more prosperity, right? So the biggest shift for you is the perspective of what abundance is.
Yeah, that's a really, really great insight. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So let's just do a prayer because, as we say, the answer to prayer is in the prayer. So let's pretend that we're praying for abundance, and let's not even pretend. Let's just do this, right? So if we are praying for abundance, one of three things happens in prayer. One, either the concept that there's not abundance goes away, it disappears, the problem itself goes away because we've expanded consciousness. Or two, we awaken an innovation and we have inspired action to give that abundance and receive the abundance, right? Or three, we actually create a miracle. We could come out of prayer and we could have a $50,000 check that just arrived on the doorstep, right? These are the three things of how the prayer is answered in the prayer. So my suggestion for you is anytime you're in fear and you're like, I want to live in abundance, don't try and figure it out from the logical mind because the mind that created the problem is the same problem that is going to get you more problems, right? You want to get in, and prayer is about expanding and becoming, not getting, but becoming that which we desire. Okay, so let's just take a deep breath together. Putting the hands together because we're connecting the right and left hemisphere of the brain, connecting the heart with the head, coming into the truth. The truth is the universe is only abundant. That there's infinite mathematical equations of elements that we can put together for innovation upon innovation. I recognize also with the power of mind that we create miracles because miracles are simply glitches in the current limited belief system. I recognize right now, right here, that everything that this divine woman is desiring is in her consciousness, deep within the truth of who she is, that infinite, all knowing, omnipotent presence that lives at the cell and molecule of every aspect of her beingness. And so I recognize and I say, thank you, fear. Thank you for the concept of scarcity because that is which is demanding the growth and the evolution of the consciousness to expand to the divine mind for this amazing, incredible goddess that she is. And so I'm knowing absolute abundance, prosperity, and truth. It is done because my word is law. It's known in the divine mind. It is done. And as I know this in the name of truth, I release, as together we say, and so it is. And so it is. Okay, so I don't know what you need to do to write down or get in mind that you cannot receive anything from the external world. That is not what we're here. That's the lie. Okay. And when we shift back into that, we don't ask for anything. We ask to just be a vessel for the highest good for the world. And in that, you will receive whatever you are ready to receive, releasing the attachment. We can't take anything with us. This is all transient out here. Okay. Meanwhile, also doing the three levels of your life's manual. What are your bottom line things you do? What are the things par? And what is the ideal scene? For me, ideal scene is I get in prayer every time. I'm knowing the truth and communing, and I'm releasing all need for anything from the external world. Okay. So how does that feel for you?
Oh, that was amazing. I literally had energy just run
Oh.
through my body. It was shaking and which is like what happens sometimes when I meditate. So it was
Mm.
a real deep connection for me. Thank you so
Great.
much.
You're so welcome. I want you to know how much I care about you. And this question is very important for so many. So you helped so many today. Okay. Thank you,
Thanks.
sweetheart. Okay. And then for everyone else just tuning in, just want to say thank you for tuning in. You're welcome to be a guest on the podcast as well. And you can also grab your coach session planner below. Have a beautiful, blessed day, and may you live your truth.